I can't quite believe. I mean, it was bad enough when they started sending out letters to 16 and 17-year-olds to say, don't worry about telling your parents, just come and get a vaccine. And if there's any problem, we'll just keep sending you letters until you give in. They're now targeting 12-year-olds. It seems extraordinary to me. Why?
It is extraordinary. I mean, so much about that story is concerning. First of all, we've never had any data or transparent statement about what even shifted in the JCVI's position to decide to vaccinate 16 to 17-year-olds.
Right.
Now it seems the NHS is rolling out a plan to vaccinate 12 to 15-year-olds, and it's unclear whether the JCVI has actually aligned with that decision. So it seems the government's just rolling that out. And then we have the whole issue of parental consent.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm actually stunned by this, that we've got a Conservative government here striking at the heart of parental authority at families and just displaying complete contempt for parents.
Yeah.
And there is no way that my 12-year-old will be able to provide informed consent. When you hear the JCVI talking about the risk-benefit profile for this vaccination in that cohort, they struggle to articulate it. So how on earth is a nurse in a school going to articulate that to a 12-year-old to provide proper, free, voluntary, informed consent, and for that 12-year-old to be able to make a decision and understand the various implications of that when the JCVI can't articulate it themselves? It's just, I'm staggered by this, absolutely staggered.
But this is the thing, Liz. I mean, as parents, we're used to having a reasonable kind of conspiracy, if you like, with our children and the schools that they go to. Yeah. We talk to the teachers, we talk to the headmaster or the headmistress, and we work together with them for anything that is going to affect the children. At no point is a 12-year-old in school, in any way, shape or form, allowed to make a decision which then affects what they do without the parents knowing about it. So why is this different?
Well, exactly. I mean, people are giving me examples of how their child had a splinter and that wasn't allowed to be removed without parental consent at school.
We're just having a little trouble with your line there, Liz. Let's see if we can get that better. It's a bit of a what can only be described as a sugary connection. We'll try and come back to that. One of the things that we're being told at the moment, by the way, by NHS England, is that 16 and 17-year-olds are only being approached if they have got immune weaknesses themselves, or if they live with vulnerable people. Now, that is demonstrably untrue. I can tell you that for a fact because I happen to know that one of my children has been approached to take part in some vaccination trial scheme, right? Without having without him either living with anybody vulnerable or indeed without him suffering from any kind of immune weakness himself. I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? We get told by all sorts of governments, oh, don't worry, we're going to roll out 5G. It's going to be brilliant. We're going to be in the white hot heat of technology, and you can't even get a decent Wi-Fi connection, 20 miles away.
Yeah, exactly.
Shocking state of affairs. Anyway, what I was saying was, look, one of my own children has been written to by the NHS. Loads and loads of paperwork sent through the door, addressed to him. He's 17 now. He's not vulnerable. We're not vulnerable. We're told that they're only sending these things out to vulnerable children. He was sent an application to join some kind of vaccination trial, right? Again, without, and it said quite clearly, you don't have to ask your parents' permission. And it was really pushy as well.
Yeah, and this is the other thing, is we're not talking here about an offer that will be made to 12 to 15-year-olds and 16 to 17-year-olds. We're talking about something that has already been subject to serious levels of coercion, coercive messaging, let's say incentives, which aren't incentives. And how is it going to work in a school setting? Are they seriously saying that this is going to be a voluntary, free decision, free of peer pressure, free of pressure from anyone in the school setting at all? I'd love to hear from the government how they plan to meet their obligations to actually allowing proper, informed, free consent for our 12-year-olds. I'd love to hear that. And I think they should have a press conference so that we can actually hear from the JCVI, from the medical officer, from the Department for Health, how they've all aligned on this, and to explain what are the risks and the benefits in this cohort, and articulate that position so we can hear what the 12-year-olds are going to be hearing.
Yes.
I would love to hear that, instead of this, going around behind closed doors, denying and then coming out later and saying this is the policy. Let them explain it.
Yeah.
I would like to hear them explain it directly to me as a parent and to my child, so I can understand how they've come about this decision.
Yes. No, I think you're absolutely right. And what I'd also like to offer, in addition to that, is that I sit there in front of them and get to ask them questions, because the number of questions that they get asked by the various members of the media are so useless that they never actually get to the heart of anything. Because I've been asking for quite a long time now, Liz, exactly what can you tell me about the efficacy of giving a vaccine to a child who might otherwise be at very, very low risk of catching COVID in the first place, and if he did or she did catch it, they would be very much unlikely to be very ill with it. And what is the actual effect and the side effect possibilities of any vaccine that you're giving to any child? Because we still haven't really been told anything other than a very vague sort of, oh, it's fine, it's absolutely fine. Suddenly now pregnant women are being told to take it when before they were told not to take it. Now we're being told, oh, well, the reason we tell them now is because we've got the data and it doesn't seem to be a problem. Well, does it seem to be a problem? If I was about to have a baby with my partner, I would not be getting that vaccine. I would be saying, hang on a minute, this is not convincing enough to me.
Yeah, exactly. And I think at the heart of all of this is trust. Trust in public health is absolutely essential. Trust in the government is essential. Trust in the school when you're sending your children to school is essential. And up until now, I felt that I did trust all of those authorities. Now, I don't trust them. I don't trust them to make the best decision for my child. And I certainly don't trust when I don't see the data. I don't hear the information coming through. So it's about transparency, and we've got to get that from them. I want to hear, what is the reasoning for this? It's a very, very simple question, and it should have a simple answer.
Because my understanding, Liz, as I'm sure yours is that the data hasn't changed. Nothing's actually changed in terms of the data that's been collected when it comes to the vaccination of people under 18. And there doesn't appear, therefore, to be any necessity to do it.
There doesn't seem to be any clear benefit, and there do seem to be some. Let's be clear, there are small risks, but there's no benefit. And the AGI has said that on July. They made very clear that the risks weren't outweighed by the benefit. So if something's changed, they need to tell us what something is.
Yeah.
But the fact that this is happening seemingly behind closed doors makes me concerned that this is once again a political decision that isn't necessarily backed up by the data. So if they would like to reassure us that that's not the case, then they need to share the data with us as parents.
Yes.
And certainly, the whole notion that a 12-year-old is going to give consent without parental consent is a bigger question to me, and I think that also needs to be addressed separately, because, we are really striking at the heart of families and parental authority.
Yes, absolutely right. Liz, thanks very much indeed.